Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Lingua Minds. Where we unravel the evolution of language. I am your host, Gwen Adeline. And I am Joy Flores. Today, we have a special episode dedicated to the development of English language. Hey Gwen, I heard that we will be having high stature guests tonight.
Yeah, you heard it right, Joy. Joining us are renowned linguists, language historians, and experts in English linguistics. Ladies and gents, Dr. Melissa Rivera, Dr. Grace Guevara, and Professor Jessica Gutierrez.
Of course, we also have Professor Simon Ferrer and Dr. Jonas Cabrera. It's so nice to finally meet you all. Dr. Rivera, you're a well-known language historian and linguist professor at the University of Southern Mindanao. Now, to kick off things, let's talk about the origin of English language. How did it all begin?
Well, English has an interesting story. It evolved from Germanic languages, spoken tribes, in what is now modern-day Germany and Denmark.
I remember back in college when we had an oral recitation and my professor asked the same question.
Okay, Miss Rivera, choose number from 1 to 10.
Number 8.
Okay, Miss Rivera. This is the question number 8. How did the history of English language begin?
Greetings to everyone. The advent of the Angles, Jutes, and Saxon, or the Anglo-Saxon from the 5th century made a mark when they brought their languages as they settled in the southern part of England, which eventually developed into Old English, the first period of the history of the English language. Old English emerged as a West Germanic languages evolving from Ingbionic, also referred to as North Sea Germanic dialects. It subsequently became the predecessor to both Middle English and Modern English. That would be all. Thank you.
What a great answer. Okay, thank you, Miss Rivera. Okay, next.
The Anglo-Saxon discovered that England was already inhabited by the Celtic-speaking tribe. The settlement made the Celts move to the northern and western parts of England. Hence, there were some Celtic loanwords in Old English, such as tor, which means pig, and comb, which means comb or valley.
I see. My peers used to discuss how religion was related in that era.
Well, the spread of Christianity to England in the 6th to 7th centuries impacted the Old English as Christian missionaries brought Latin texts, resulting in the Old English being written in Latin script. In addition, the earliest Old English text was religious.
King Alfred the Great commissioned the translation of Latin text into Old English, and he is also an advocate of education. The Viking Age also played a crucial part in shaping the Old English language in the 8th to 11th centuries. Hence, Norse languages left a mark in Old English through loanwords like sky, which means clouds in Old Norse, and changes in grammar such as word borrowing from seafaring activities and trade.
Dr. Rivera, when did the Old English end?
It is conventionally considered to have ended around 1150 AD, marking the transition from Old English to Middle English. This was influenced by the historical events such as the Norman conquest in 1066.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. Moving forward, let us call on Dr. Guevara.
Good day, Dr. Guevara.
Good day, Gwen.
Dr. Guevara here is also a renowned language historian. Dr. Rivera told me backstage that she graduated Bachelor of Arts in English Language.
Yes, I did.
I also graduated from that program.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, Dr. Guevara, what pivotal events marked the transition from Old English to Middle English?
Well, Gwen, the Norman conquest in 1066, led by William the Conqueror against King Harold II, brought significant changes.
It introduced French vocabulary into English, marking the shift to Middle English. This transformation popularized and regulated a London-based form of English known as the Chancery Standard. Following the conquest, the French language dominated England's elite for 300 years, becoming the official language of government and high society. This influence gave Middle English a substantial makeover, impacting its vocabulary, spelling, and pronunciation. The bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death, had a complex and multi-faceted impact on the development of Middle English. The plague devastated Europe, wiping out roughly a third of the population in England alone. This resulted in a severe labor shortage and a reshuffling of social classes. Many lower-class English speakers moved into positions previously held by French-speaking elites who succumbed to the disease.
How do you think this plague made an impact on the English language?
Changes in power dynamics led to a decline in French influence and the ascent of English in administration and daily life. The loss of educated clergy and scholars diminished the privileged status of Latin and French, opening the path for the rise of vernacular English. This shift was notable in literature and intellectual circles as seen in Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, written in Middle English.
Dr. Guevara, what made Geoffrey Chaucer an important icon in the English language?
Geoffrey Chaucer wrote literary pieces in English. One of his popular works is the Canterbury Tales. It is a long narrative poem about the unhappy love of Troilus and Cresside. Before Chaucer, Latin and French were dominant in formal writing, while English was relegated to lower literary forms. By composing his magnum opus in Middle English, Chaucer elevated the language to a literary form capable of expressing complex ideas, humor, and vivid descriptions. This made English not just an acceptable tongue for commoners, but a worthy language for highbrow literature.
Dr. Guevara, are this impact is still visible today?
Yes, beyond vocabulary and grammar. Chaucer's writing style set a precedent for future English literary forms. His masterful use of meter, rhyme, and narrative techniques inspired generations of writers and solidified English as a language capable of great literary depth and versatility.
Ready and action!
Dr. Guevara, what changes took place after the Norman conquest, specifically in the English language?
French contributed over 10,000 words to Middle English, with around 75% still in use today. These words spread across various areas such as government, law, art, literature, and cuisine. The impact of French on English is evident on spelling changes, like the silent S in isle and the silent E in death, reflecting French pronunciation rather than Old English practices. Doubling of consonants seen in words like battle and dinner also originated from French spelling practices.
There you have it, folks.
She didn't even sweat with all your questions.
Indeed. Thank you, Dr. Guevara.
Now, let's jump ahead to the modern English era, joining our two respected linguist professor from the University of Southern Mindanao, Professor Jessica Gutierrez and Professor Simon Ferrer. Good day.
Good day, Joy.
Good day, everyone. It's so nice to be here.
Professor Gutierrez will be answering our first question. Professor Gutierrez, what are the factors that influenced the early modern English? And action!
Well, early modern English, the bridge between the Middle English and the language we speak today, blossomed between the late 15th centuries and the late 17th centuries.
Action!
It was a period of dramatic change, influenced by various factors such as the printing press. This revolutionary invention, introduced in England by William Caxton in 1476, standardized written English and facilitated the spread of literature, accelerating linguistic development.
Writers like William Shakespeare influenced early modern English by coining countless words, creatively adapting existing ones, and giving new meanings to familiar words. By giving new meanings to existing ones, he is credited with the invention of over 1,700 that is still used today. Lastly, the linguistic exchange. Trade and political interactions with other countries, particularly France and Italy, brought in new words and concepts enriching the vocabulary. Think ballot and spaghetti. Those are souvenirs from early modern English.
Thank you, Professor Gutierrez. Moving forward, Professor Ferrer, what are the factors that influence late modern English?
Late modern English, spanning roughly from 1700s to 1900s, bridged the gap between the rich expressiveness of early modern English and the standardized elegance of modern English. It was a period marked by both continuity and change, shaped by several key factors such as the growth of literacy. With the rise of newspapers, novels, and public education, literacy rates soared. This widespread exposure to written language solidified grammatical rules and spelling conventions, contributing to greater standardization. The colonial expansion of the British Empire brought English into contact with various languages and cultures. Loanwords like bungalow in Hindi and kangaroo in Australian Aboriginal were adopted, reflecting the global reach of the British Empire. Linguistic awareness also played a significant role. Grammarians and lexicographers like Samuel Johnson and Noah Webster actively studied and documented the language, codifying rules and compiling dictionaries. This helped standardize spelling and pronunciation.
Thank you, Professor Gutierrez and Professor Ferrer for that eye-opening information.
And now we are down to our last guest for today, Dr. Jonas Cabrera. Good day, sir.
Good day, ma'am.
American and British English, originating from a common root, have developed distinct variation over centuries. These are two common varieties of English that are widely used today. Now, can you share with us the differences between the two varieties of English?
Okay. Pronunciation is a notable difference. Americans usually or generally use rhotic accent, pronouncing R sound in all positions. Often drop it after the vowels in a non-rhotic accent. This leads to variations like ka in US and ka in British. Vowel sounds also differ, as American English tends to have more open vowels. Example, bath and cot, while British English leans towards closed sounds. Example, bath and cot. Additionally, there are divergencies in vocabulary, such as elevator in American English being lift in British English, soccer ball becoming football, and cookie being called biscuit. Despite these distinctions, mutual intelligibility remains generally high and both forms are valid.
Dr. Cabrera, may I ask how the spread of English in Asia and Oceania contributed to the development of English language?
The diffusion of English into Asia and Oceania played a crucial role in shaping unique regional forms of the language. Various areas embraced English with individual linguistic traits and shaped by the influence of local languages and cultures. English in these areas assimilated words, expressions, and linguistic traits from local languages. This exchange added a variety of linguistic elements, enhancing the richness of the English language. The expansion of English in Asia and Oceania strengthened its position as a worldwide language. English emerged as a widely used means for international communication, diplomacy, and trade.
Thank you, Dr. Cabrera. What an intriguing journey through time! A huge thank you to our esteemed guests for unraveling the story of English from its ancient roots to the global language we speak today.
And to you, our fantastic audience, Thank you for joining us on the exploration of the English language.
Until next time, this is Lingua
Lingua
Minds.